Well, hello, and welcome to this week's edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Green for Avoya Travel. Thanks again for your time. I know how crazy busy things are right now in the travel business these days. So if you're making time to be part of On Deck with Avoya, we very much appreciate it. If you're new to the travel industry, wow, today is just a great show for you. I mean, I think everyone's going to get something out of our episode, no doubt about that. But today, we get to feature a fairly new affiliate in our network with the Avoya Network for less than a year and enjoying amazing success with sales already exceeding $1 million. I wish I could do that Austin Powers thing, right? $1 million. Pretty impressive, right? I think so too. And I'm speaking about Jason Dutton-Smith, owner of Map the World Travel, LLC, an independent affiliate in the Avoya Network, who'll be joining us today for an exclusive Q&A. If you happen to catch last week's episode of On Deck with Avoya with David Ridge from Sandals Resort, he was coming to us live from Beaches Turks and Caicos. Well, if not, you really should catch that. And we might actually drop a link to it in our comments today for last week's episode. It was so good. Well, Jason was also at that resort last week, part of the best $1 million sales reward trip for Avoya Travel affiliates. And I look forward to getting Jason's take on last week, as well as some advice for those new to the travel industry and other great topics. Jason Dutton-Smith will join us here in just a few moments. We have our traditional Eye on the Industry feature back this week. Industry stories we're following, including the new House bill up on Capitol Hill to eliminate foreign travelers from their vaccination requirements, something that most of the major travel associations are behind, but the White House still opposes that. We'll have the latest information. Carnival Cruise Line announces a new 31-day Trans-Pacific cruise for 2024. We'll take a look at that itinerary, and we have some news from right here at Avoya Travel as the Eagle has landed. Details on Avoya Travel's new air program here in just a moment as well. We'll also highlight our current promotions, of which we have several. We'll touch base on education and Avoya resources and all the ways that you can connect with Avoya Travel to start that conversation. I mean, when you consider that Avoya Travel just posted its biggest month ever in company history, and you consider that all of the sales for Avoya Travel come via the Avoya Network and our amazing affiliates, all of that sales, I mean, what are you waiting for? This is it, right? This is the big year, the one that every business owner dreams about, and our resources give you the best chance for success. So do yourself a favor, and forgive me for sounding so confident, but call us. We've got it going on, and we want to share our story with you. Okay, so let's kick it off. This week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update with some industry insights and our Eye on the Industry feature. In a story that we sourced from Travel Pulse, the House of Representatives has passed a bill that would eliminate vaccination requirements for foreign visitors who travel to the United States by air. In a vote on Wednesday, the House voted 227 to 201 to do away with the vaccination rule, which mandates that all adult visitors who are not citizens or permanent residents of the U.S. show proof they've been vaccinated for COVID before being allowed to get on a flight bound for this country. It also prevents the CDC from rolling out a mandate of its own. Now, while COVID-19 may not be the threat it once was, the Biden administration has said it's not ready to eliminate the hotly contested vaccination requirement. In a press release issued this Tuesday, the administration, which in June dropped its requirement that travelers who come to the U.S. must test negative for COVID, underscored its continued opposition to congressional action to reverse vaccination rules. Now, meanwhile, the U.S. Travel Association issued a statement Wednesday afternoon applauding the House vote on H.R. 185. They said the need for this requirement has long since passed, and we appreciate the bipartisan action by the U.S. House to end this outdated policy. U.S. Travel Executive Vice President of Public Affairs and Policy, Tori Emerson Barnes, with that quote. This will be, of course, a story we continue to follow. Also, in a story from Travel Pulse, as part of its Carnival Journeys program, Carnival Cruise Line introduced a 31-day, pretty amazing, Trans-Pacific cruise aboard the Carnival Luminosa that will explore 3 continents, including Australia, Asia, and North America in 2024. Now, reservations are now open for the voyage. And I didn't even plant this story thinking about who my special guest was today, but ironically, It's departing from Brisbane, Australia, which our guest, Jason Dutton-Smith, has a connection to. We'll talk about that. That's going to happen on April 1st in 2024. It's going to call on Guam, Okinawa, Hiroshima, a couple other places in Japan, Seward, Juneau, Ketchikan in Alaska, sail through the Hubbard Glacier, and disembark in Washington. The itinerary will mark the first time Carnival has called at Okinawa. The itinerary reads like a traveler's lover's wish list. This trans-Pacific voyage on Carnival Luminosa is truly a unique offering, said Christine Duffy, the president of Carnival Cruise Lines. And she went on to say, as we continue to grow our fleet and our offerings, our team is taking every opportunity to create exceptional new experiences for our guests. The sailing is a perfect testament to that. To me, it sounds like a great sailing. So good luck in the sails. I hope you get clients aboard that. And Avoya Travel is just very pleased to have a wonderful relationship with all of the Carnival Corporation brands. And finally, Operation Eagle takes flight, or the Eagle has landed, whatever silly pun you prefer. We're just thrilled to announce that the Avoya Travel has unveiled a new air program. Now, Avoya Travel, proud to be one of the travel industry's most innovative brands, has just launched the beta test for Avoya Flights. The highly anticipated air program was initially teased during last year's 2022 Avoya conference in November on the Celebrity Beyond. The program features a robust and easy-to-use booking engine, dedicated support desk staffed by experienced airfare experts, and a vast selection of, you'll love this part, commissionable airfares. Both the booking engine and access to the air desk are integrated into Avoya Travel's patented technology, Agent Power, allowing independent agencies to provide full-service vacation planning services, all from within the same software ecosystem. Now, traditionally, here at Avoya Travel, we focused on the cruise, hotel, and tour portion of leisure vacations versus air, because let's face it, GDS technology is just antiquated, and the lack of commissionable airfares just didn't make it smart business. Well, not previously a large segment of Avoya's business, and air program was a key initiative for Avoya's 2025 corporate plan, and Avoya has been keen on both finding a way to integrate the booking process into Agent Power and creating a solution for Avoya Network members to outsource their air bookings to an air desk if they choose to do so. With the launch of Avoya Flights, Avoya introduces itself as a future powerhouse in the complete vacation package segment of leisure travel. Quoting Jeff Anderson, our co-CEO here at Avoya Travel, the launch of Avoya Flights ushers in a new era for Avoya's travelers and advisors. The ability to seamlessly provide bespoke vacation planning and booking services to now include air travel will help elevate the Avoya network to new heights. Sounds like a big win-win. I'm so excited as this rolls from beta into full launch, and everyone in the Avoya network, certainly more details are to come. Okay, time for my favorite segment of On Deck with Avoya, and from our feedback, it appears to be your favorite segment too. Today, our first Meet the Network segment of the year. You know, January is pretty busy. We didn't want to slow anybody down. Well, today's special guest, Jason Dutton-Smith, is a wonderful business owner, off to an amazing start in our network, as I said earlier, and he's kind enough to give us some of his precious time in this very busy wave season. So please help me welcome in our featured Meet the Network guest today, Jason Dutton-Smith, owner of Map the World Travel LLC, an independent affiliate in the Avoya Network. Jason, so great to have you as our guest today for On Deck with Avoya.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Really nice to be here, and I appreciate that introduction. That was very kind.
Absolutely. Jason, before we get into our topics for the day, first tell me a little bit about yourself and how you found your way into the travel industry and ultimately to the Avoya Network.
Sure. So although I live in Nashville now, I am from Australia originally. I grew up in Perth in Western Australia, and aeroplanes always fascinated me. I was an av geek child from way back. And I remember driving along Tonkin Highway, it's called, by the airport in Perth, and a British Airways 747-200, shows my age, was landing over top, and I screamed at my mum to pull over and let's watch the planes, and that always sparked an interest in me. And but I think I've been in travel over 20 years. This is my first time as an affiliate, first time with a travel agency, but my previous life, I was a travel writer. I also worked for an airline for 10 years in Australia, and I had a publishing company before COVID. So like the Avoya magazine that gets sent out every quarter, I used to produce those types of magazines on behalf of brands in a white label agreement. And then COVID came along. So like everything, my business shut down. So, I had my dark months, pulled out of it, but travel is just an industry I cannot be a part of. So when I was looking at my foray back into the travel industry, that's how I found Avoya and decided to go frontline for the first time and start selling.
So prior to that experience with your mom and the airplane flying overhead, was travel something that was just always ingrained in your life? I mean, is it important to your family and stuff like that growing up?
It was, but like most kids growing up in the 80s or late 70s and 80s, road tripping was our thing. And back then, flying was not affordable. To go from Perth to, Sydney, for example, fares were like, 1,500, 2,000 a person even way back then. So that's where my passion started, because as the years went on, I just wanted to travel. I just wanted to see more and more things. And we're lucky in Australia, we're extremely multicultural. So I always had interest in cultures, in food, in anything that was just a little different. I was comfortable where we were, and I loved Australia, and I loved what we're doing, but there was just something about, meeting people from other countries, learning about it, watching these planes come in and out. What are these people doing? Where are they going? Why are they coming here? Why are they leaving? It was just a natural fascination from as long as I can remember.
It's cool to be curious sometimes, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
I wanted to take a moment and congratulate you and your agency on being part of the best group that got to experience Beaches Turks and Caicos last week. What an amazing accomplishment. And even more so to do it in your first year in the Avoya Network. You must be quite proud of that.
Oh, definitely. I started first week of July. I did my training in June. I was turned on the first week of July last year. And I gave myself $1 million target, which, and I'll be honest, I thought that was, extremely high, maybe unachievable, but, I wanted to give it a good crack. So I did. I hit the $1 million with a booking on December 28th, which just happened to be my birthday. So it was a good birthday booking, that one, to hit the $1 million. So I was super proud and excited. Being a party of one, it's hard work. There's no sugarcoating it. There's a lot of hard work, and it still is. But yeah, I was very proud. Thank you. It was excellent. And then obviously to be a part of Turks and Caicos, well, that was amazing.
Right. I mean, that's a pretty nice, like, happy birthday to me kind of gift. No doubt about that.
It was.
Tell me a little bit about last week and some of the things that you took away from that experience, being with other top agencies in the Avoya Network, experience such a beautiful place in the world, and everything that was just part of last week.
Yeah, Chris, there's nothing like being face to face with people, and Zoom is great, and talking to suppliers on phone, talking to clients on phone, and other Avoya agents, but it's just nothing like meeting face to face. You can really just convey so much more information, and sharing of ideas is just invaluable. So you get to meet the suppliers, which is great, and you can set up appointments, and that's invaluable, of course. But for me, the most important part was two things. One, meeting other agents in the Avoya network, just to share ideas and build on everyone's own success. But meeting the people from headquarters as well. You get to meet the heartbeat of the operation and understand how it works, why it works. So just doing that was just invaluable to me. And I can honestly say I would encourage anyone to join in any of the conferences or Avoya projects that come up, because it really is well worth the time spent.
So, we always say that Avoya Travel, we have a shared success relationship with our independent affiliates. So, Jason, tell me a little bit about your agency, Map the World Travel LLC, and what some of your focuses are, as far as behind your agency.
Yeah. When I first started, I had this idea of what I wanted to do. And I can honestly say today, I do none of that. It was... I wanted to build these like incredible packages to Australia and be like the Australia expert. And I wanted to, do all this FIT to Europe and all this type of stuff. And cruising was secondary for me. Well, now cruising is what I do. It's my primary. And I kind of fell into the expedition cruising kind of area. But it's just funny how when you start off, you have these ideas and things just always move in a different direction. But it did that because, I tried certain things that I thought I was going to be great at. Turns out I was terrible at. Then I tried different things, and I've tried everything from the all-inclusives to cruises to flights to FIT pack. If it's travel, I've tried it. And I kind of, over the especially the last 6 months or 7 months now, I really honed in to be a specialist in what I do. So I have a handful of suppliers, that I deal with, and I try to be the specialist in that. And what I really try to do is impart like a CEO mindset. So, and by that, Chris, I mean, I work in the business all the time, but you have to take time out to work on the business. So to have a successful agency and a successful model, I believe most of us, we really are a party of one with our agencies. You have to employ some disciplines and put yourself out there and force yourself to do things that make you uncomfortable, to find out what really works, and then just take that and run with it. So that's what I did basically over the last 6-7 months. I honed in what works for me. I know what works, I know what doesn't work. I know what I love selling and what I'm confident at selling, and being the expert in that, it comes through in your phone calls, it comes through in your emails, and it just produces bookings.
Yeah, specialization, nothing like it. Do you find, Jason, that there are specific resources that Avoya Travel offers to those in the Avoya network that you depend upon to help you find the success that you found with your agency?
Absolutely. For starters, Laura's team with the Early Success program. I mean, I can absolutely honestly say 100% I would not be here without Laura and her team. I know she has like a large team. My particular coaches is Melissa and Ed, and I was always a bit skittish of using them. I always thought, oh God, they're going to think I've got the dumbest question ever, and I would always be a little like every time I contacted them, and I conveyed that to Laura once, and boy, Laura told me off. She's like, Jason, this is why my team is here. Use them. Like, no question is a silly question. This is why Avoya has such a team and invests in that team model. And I can honestly say that the advice that they give you, and also the affirmation that they give you, will only help build your confidence and go forward. So definitely the Early Success team, I rely on them. I still rely on them. Just a week and a half ago, a week before Turks and Caicos, I was emailing them about something I hadn't seen before. And it's good because not only can you ask them questions, but they're there to also reaffirm. I thought I'd done something right. I just needed that reaffirmation that I had done it right, and it was great. And that's what their team is doing. And the other thing is the support requests. So Kerry and her team, no questions a silly question, which I love about the Avoya HQ staff. They've been outstanding, but also the marketing page. I used a lot of stuff, especially in the beginning when you're trying to get yourself up and running. You don't have time necessarily to do Facebook advertising, as an example, which I do. But you go to the marketing page on Avoya, they've got everything there. You can download images. They've got Facebook posts that you can put up, Instagram posts, that type of thing, let alone all the other information that they have available on there. So especially in the beginning, but still today, I do use those marketing pages all the time as well. So those three resources I found invaluable. And to be honest, when I was looking at different host agencies, everyone does the due diligence. Those were some of the reasons, outside of the live lead program, of course, but those are some of the reasons I found Avoya to be the strongest in.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. That's a wonderful testimonial to our to the resources that we're very proud of and that we think are difference makers too. And we'll shout from the rafters about how amazing Laura and her team are, how amazing Carrie and her team are, how amazing Marissa, who's the producer of our segment, Sam McCulley, in marketing. Woo, those people just, and creative. I mean, I could do a whole show just bragging about all of those people, and I've done several of them. And events too, right? I mean, you've taken advantage of participating. I mean, I know like November was the first and you just got to be in Turks and Caicos, but now you've decided you see the value in that too, right, Jason?
Oh, 100%. Just not only forging the relationships with the staff, but forging the relationships with the suppliers and other Avoya agents. I found that really important. And one of the things that I found important when I started was finding an Avoya buddy as well to bounce ideas off. So I was super lucky. On my first week, I was on a webinar and this little message popped up from Eric Bell saying, "Hey, everyone, it's my first week here. Good to be here." And I was like, "Oh, this is great. It's my first week here as well." So I just emailed Eric out of the blue and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do university together? And maybe we can bounce ideas off each other." And honestly, finding those Avoya buddies is absolutely invaluable. And then, of course, when you go to these in-person events, meeting other agents, you just like build on top of that. And everybody specializes in something different, which is what I love. So I'm not very strong on certain cruise lines, but Eric and my other good buddy Bruce Young are really strong on those cruise lines. I ask them questions, they ask me questions about what I'm strong on. If I got an all-inclusive question, I got other people I can ask. So forging those relationships, which you do face-to-face, through conference, through these trips, through whatever it is, I can hand on heart I can say is invaluable. It really is.
If you could go back in time, say back to May of last year, as you were just starting to put everything together and offer yourself that one piece of advice, like, is there anything you would tell yourself from what you know now to fill yourself in from then?
Yes, there's a couple of things actually. One, I would have become a specialist right off the bat. I would have, the first couple of months, you have to try everything. And I would certainly encourage that because you need to find out what works, what doesn't work, what you're comfortable with, what you know and understand. And that's the way that you will start to narrow down your focus and become the specialist, that people look to us to be. One big thing is it is a numbers game. I used to take rejection really personally. So my first couple of rejections, I was like, my God, I did everything. I did all the best practices. I did all the follow-ups. I did the emails, the texts, the phone calls. I tick, 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 tick. I did everything perfectly, and you still got a rejection. So one thing I had to learn very quickly was don't take it personally. You're going to get rejections. People are going to, use you for information and book direct. That's happened. It's just the way it is. It's a numbers game, but celebrate the wins, but celebrate the losses. So if someone, puts a $45,000 Viking cruise on hold with you and then decides to cancel and book direct for reasons unknown, and you've worked with them for like 4 weeks in a row, not that this happened to me, Chris, but you know what? I lost a $45,000 booking. I can tell you, I opened a bottle of wine and I ordered a pizza. I had a great night and I got back in the saddle the next morning and I moved on. It's like, close that door. Don't take it personally. It is what it is. Don't take it personally. Close the door, because you know what? You've got more leads to take. You've got more people there. So, keep forging forward. It's a numbers game. Just keep going.
Wine and pizza, that'll help you get over a lot of mishaps in life, no doubt about it.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Jason Dutton-Smith, owner of Map the World Travel LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Network, is our featured Meet the Network guest today. Jason, on top of that advice about specialization in numbers game, would there be a piece of advice that you might be kind enough to offer someone that's just trying to get started in the industry?
Yeah. When I first started, Melissa Starbuck told me, be pleasantly persistent. And she's absolutely right. It's the best one of the best pieces of advice I've got from Avoya. Just be pleasantly persistent. you're going to have stumbles, you're going to have falls. There's going to be times where you make mistakes or something happens. It's just inevitable. We're in it. We're in sales. It's just the way it is, and we're in a super fast-moving industry. Things change rapidly, day by day. There's times where I've gone to, okay, it's the last cabin. Let's get it booked, and I get to the end, and cabin's gone. It's gone up $400. Like, things happen, but just be consistent with what you do. Continue on. Never give up. That's one big thing. When I used to teach content marketing courses to ADMA back in Australia, and one of the things I always used to say back then was, you didn't fail, you tested. And it's so true in whatever we do. We haven't failed, we just tested. So if something doesn't work out, move along. Just keep forging ahead. And so before, when I said about the CEO mindset, that's what I'm kind of meaning there. So think like a CEO. Don't keep flogging the dead horse. Try something. If it works, great, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, that's okay, move on. Be pleasantly persistent, and never have fear of reaching out to Laura and her team, because they're here to make us a success. Avoya is only successful if we are. So it's Avoya's interest to make sure we're successful. Yeah.
Perfect. When you get a chance to step away from the agency, Jason, what kind of things do you like to do for fun?
Chris, I travel. That's all I do. That's all I do. And earlier, I think one of your first questions was, what sparked my interest in travel as well. And growing up, I actually had a disability, a physical disability growing up, which thankfully I've been able to grow out of for the most part. But when I was diagnosed at 11 years old with this disability, I remember one of the things that the doctor told me was, I'll never be able to travel, or, do this or do that and do the other. And that always stuck in, it says, so you can imagine this 7-year-old kid watching that British Airways plane land, and fast forward to 11 years old being told I'll never be able to travel. I was like, well, no, I want to travel. I will make this happen. And I did. So for me, travel is a form of expression. It's a form of freedom. So I do that. But I mean, outside of that, it's just travel. Like, it's just the entire world is so interesting, and there's so much to see and do. There's so much, you can look at the Eiffel Tower all day long on Instagram, but there is nothing like standing in front of that Eiffel Tower and just, looking at it and being awed. So, so to be honest, I'm a traveler. I work hard, but I play hard as well. So I work, 6 to 7 days a week to build my success and do that. But Chris, when I go away, and I enjoy it.
Fantastic. Anything on the horizon that you're excited about? I know you just had Turks and Caicos, last week, but something fun coming up?
I do. So let's see. End of March, I've got Holland America. I'm going on the Holland America boot camp. So I'm on that. So looking forward to that. Also doing the Alaska conference in September. Sounds like most of my travel is Avoya related, but but actually next Sunday I'm doing Oceania for the first time as well. So I've booked myself a trip on that, and we're doing a 10-day out of Miami. So I'm keen to check out the Oceania product, this finest cuisine at sea. I'm going to give it a go, and so that I'm definitely looking forward to. I've got a trip back to Australia. I have to go back home once a year, or else I'll be disowned. But and Europe as well. I haven't been to Europe for a couple of years, so I am beyond eager to get back to Europe. I'm ready to go.
Sounds like a pretty awesome 2023 lined up for you.
Making up for it.
What are you hearing from clients right now? Are they looking to the future? Are they short-term, long-term, a combination?
Bit of everything, to be honest. I think COVID cabin fever is real. People have a pent-up desire to travel. Everyone's having huge success right now. Everyone's making record sales, including Avoya. Every cruise line, doesn't matter who you talk to, everyone's having a record at the moment. And a lot of that is like the COVID cabin fever, as I call it. People have been pent up. They want to go out and travel. But well, one of the things that I find is people are starting to plan further ahead as well. So, I mean, I've got bookings in 2025. I never thought I would have that. I've got a Greenland booking in August 24. I've got two bookings in 2025, one in Asia, one in Europe. So, people really are starting to plan out ahead of time. And most people don't know this, Chris, but everyone has three vacations being planned right now, whether they know it or not. Everyone's planning like the weekend getaway, just a quick getaway, wherever it may be. Everyone's planning their annual vacation, and everyone's planning their bucket trip. So this is part of my kind of CEO mindset. Okay, everyone's got those three, whether they know it or not, that's what they've got. So how can I feed into that and give them answers to questions that they don't know they already have, if that makes sense? So I try and use that. So trying to build up my repeat clientele, which is obviously huge when you first start. That's what I'm trying to do with that. So I'm tapping into these people that are interested in traveling further or booking out further afield with that kind of mindset. It's like, well, I know you've got some annual leave coming up, but you mentioned that Antarctica was really high on your list. We just got this great deal for January 2024. What do you reckon? And you've got plenty of time to pay it off. We'll do a payment plan, whatever it may be. And so people are asking me about that, but I'm also suggesting it to them as well.
Sounds like you run a pretty sharp business, my friend. Been a fantastic conversation. We've got one more question before we have to wrap up today.
Sure.
And I try to use this question with most of my guests because I just think it's a wonderful way to wrap up every week. But when you look long-term, especially like you just explained, clients already on the books for 2025, Jason, are you excited about the future of our industry and leisure travel?
Oh my gosh, that's an understatement. I'm always excited about travel. Travel's in my veins. I have jet fuel running through my veins, Chris. I've been in travel one form or the other for over 20 years. And in the 20 years, if you think of all the things that have happened in the 20 years, we've had a GFC, we had 9/11, we've had COVID. Travel always bounces back. I'm always excited about travel. There may be a blip in the system, but one thing that travel has proven time and time and time again is that it will bounce back at some stage. Now, COVID, that took a lot longer than any of us ever anticipated, but look at where we are today. We're making up for it now. So I think more people are traveling due to technology now. More people have access to check out a destination that may be a little bit off the beaten path or obscure now as well, with Facebook, Instagram, and all the online resources. So yeah, and I think there's a lot of providers that are affording people to travel that were never able to travel. Southwest was the pioneer in the low-cost carrier model for airlines, but between Spirit and Allegiant and JetBlue and everyone else that's out there, I think suppliers are opening up the world to people that wouldn't necessarily have been able to travel at one stage. So that makes me excited about travel as well. And I think that's just going to keep growing. So that's my kind of take on it, on the future, but my little crystal ball, but no, totally excited about the future of travel, 100%.
Jason Dutton-Smith, everyone, owner of Map the World Travel LLC, an independent agency in the Avoya Network. Jason, so great, wonderful conversation. Really appreciate having you on the show today and that fantastic insight.
Oh, no worries. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Next week, we're going to be off because I'm going to be on vacation and enjoying some time in my happy place. Guess what? On a cruise ship. So we're going to be back in 2 weeks, though. Jim Clunan, president at Travel Show Marketing Group, giving us a sneak peek into Las Vegas's Travel Agent Forum coming up at the end of March, early April. Jason was talking about standing underneath the Eiffel Tower. You can do that in Las Vegas too, right? I mean, in fact, we'll be at the Paris. So I've stood under that Eiffel Tower many times and looked up. And even though it's only like a 2/3 scale replica, it's still pretty impressive. So can't wait to have Jim on the show here in just a couple of weeks. Promotions. We have them going on, and we extended it through February, our promotion for experienced agents. We appreciate everyone reaching out. Again, we're trying to be really clear on this. We're looking for agents that had $100,000 in gross sales in 2022 in core leisure products, cruise, river cruise, tour, all-inclusive family vacations, And we're waiving the fee if you qualify under the promotion. So reach out, get started, get connected with an affiliation specialist. Now is go time, people. And of course, we still have our ongoing promotion with our friends in the military community, veterans and active duty people in the military and their spouses, because we know the spouse serves too. Taking $100 off the affiliation fee. My team more than happy to work with you to make sure we get the information we need in order to provide that discount. And again, thank you so much for your service to our country, and happy to have that promotion. All right, Avoya Travel Agent Education powered by Avoya. We've got a promotion here too. In fact, we've got one that if you sign up and you finish the program and then you affiliate before the end of March, there's actually an opportunity to be in a drawing for a free cabin at the Avoya National Conference, which is going to be held like the 24th through October 1st, 24th of September, October 1st. Princess, we're going to Alaska. It's going to be amazing. On top of that, this curriculum is fantastic, really gives you a leg up in trying to get your business started in the travel industry. You can see all the details there on the screen. Please reach out. We'll get you the details on how to sign up. Be part of the travel industry in 2023. It's a pretty special place to be right now. Okay, so man, we've got the resources, and Jason did such an amazing job, tying them all in together, live leads and the marketing and the support. Right? I mean, all of the teams, the investment that Avoya makes, we have the biggest ratio of those that work directly for Avoya Travel to the number of affiliates in our network, and it provides tangible results. So put in your request at avoyanetwork.com and please get the conversation started today. We've got something kind of cool going on this week. We've got kind of like a sneak preview or a little action going on with Virgin on the Scarlet Lady. Our normal producer, Annabella, she's out enjoying some time and she's updating on the Avoya Network Facebook and our social media channels. And if you're not following us, please subscribe and ring the bell and in the whole 9 yards, like us, do all that cool stuff so that you can stay in touch, because we have some really great content and we love to be able to share with you so much. So, and be look on the lookout all this week for that special content going on from Virgin Voyages here with Avoya Travel. All right, so how do you reach us? Pretty easy, avoyanetwork.com. There's my email, there's my phone. If I don't answer next week, you'll understand I'll be on vacation. We'll be back in 2 weeks again with Jim Clunan as we preview the Las Vegas Home-Based Travel Agent Forum coming up at the end of March. Again, thank you to Marissa, doing a wonderful job producing today's segment. Jason Dutton-Smith, wow, our first Meet the Network segment of the year, and he hit it out of the park, no doubt about it. Thank you for being a part of it. We'll talk to you soon. Until then, take care, everyone.